Oh man. Alright, the Slip Squadron, bro, we're back. Oh, Slips Squadron, we just recorded this video and the audio was not optimal, so you know, we're restarting, but it's okay, we still got that passion, we still got that fire. And you know, speaking of fire, we got a heated one today. We got the Slips hot takes. We got the low res profile picture so you remember who it is. And welcome. Slip steaming hot takes, 100% accuracy. The rules. If you disagree, you got to comment so I can 50-45 you. I'm gonna school you in the comments. Please debate me. Come on. I'm ready for the smoke. And no calling me a casual if I don't glaze your favorite fighter. This is a hot takes video. We're not protecting feelings. That's not how this works. Let's get straight into it. We're not gonna waste no time. Let's go. Heat ice bath, 10%. Coldest of cold takes. Everybody should agree. Or else you're coping as well. Jon Jones glazes are the kings of cope. And there's a criteria for this. It takes a lot to be a king of cope. But these fans, they never fail. They never fail to cope unlimitlessly. Jones can never, first off, let's just outline it, get it out of the way. To say the elephant in the room. Jones can physically never be the consensus GOAT. He can't be. Because just like how DC said recently, and he was right. DC said, 8 years youth advantage, 6'4", 200 centimeters, perfect for the weight class. I feel like that does not line up. I feel like 6'4" is like 194, DC. But, man, this guy was still so insecure he was jabbing his ass with roids. He was jabbing. Throughout his entire career. He had like 2 fights where he wasn't, like Andre Guzmão and over in St. Peru. And maybe one other. I think it was maybe one other. But, man, this guy is a roid cheat. He can never be the consensus GOAT. He'll never get the nod from guys like Mighty Mouse. From other all-time greats. It'll always be brought up in discussions. And you can't cope your way through that. I'm sorry, Jones fans. But, I'm not. I'm not sorry. You guys cope about the Reyes fight as well. I was on live with this Jones fan. And I asked him to score Dominic Reyes versus Jon Jones. And he ended stream. He ended stream. That's next level. That's next level cope. He's a poke merchant. He fights dirty. He ducked his hardest opponents, Aspinall, Francis Ngannou, Stipe in his prime. He ducked everybody. That was a scary challenge for him. He hand-selected fights. He wouldn't even take Chael Sonnen on short notice. Can we all read what that in the red says backwards? You know, he had an altercation, a couple altercations. He's done a couple weird things, you know, some things in front of his daughter in a hotel room with blood in his hands, you know, some things that are just unacceptable, and some Diddy stuff as well. You know, we see that flag in the top left corner. There's nothing wrong with that, but he does lie. He lies about it. He lies about it. We all know what you are, Johnny boy. We all know. And don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter. He's got a great resume, but he's a roid cheat, and he can't. I don't know if he could do it without the roids. I don't know. I don't know if he could. He probably could. But we're not just going to be like, he could have done it without the roids, so, you know, he's omitted. No, he's not. He's not omitted. He's not. We're not allowing this roid cheat to be the consensus GOAT, and that's why guys like Markachev and guys like Topuria and etc. They're higher than him on the list. They're higher. Anyway, moving on. We've got Ticklish, 20%. Heavyweight's hero is here, man. Look, this take was going to be Heavyweight's a joke. Because, you know, blobs just jiggle at range. But then we had that Hokit fight, and it made me think, wow, blobs jiggle at range, but this blob jiggles in the pocket. Pick up Josh Hokit. We love this guy, man. I don't care if you guys hate him. Oh, he's corny, he's annoying, blah, blah. He's making the division interesting. There was nothing in this division before this. We had Gable coming. Who cares about Gable? I don't give a shit about Gable. I can sense a Gable fraud check incoming. I can sense it. Like, Tatiana Suarez was an Olympic level wrestler. What happened at the top level of the sport? What happened? I don't care about American wrestling anymore. We're done with the American wrestling credentials. We don't give a shit about Bo Nichols. Penn State wins. We don't care. We need someone like this. We need someone who's going to be like, yo, yeah, Waldo Cortez Acosta. Yeah, you left your kid in my bag. Like, you know, that's just messed up. But, like, it's going to make a good fight. It's going to make a good fight. And, yeah, man. fall from grace. This division was once great, probably when everyone was just a roid cheat. But hey man, it was a joke, and it's coming back, and we've got some entertaining fighters at this weight class now. It's not just Aspinall, it's not just Garn. You know, it's not just Johnny Boy running and ducking. We got big, incredible Hoke, and we also just have Josh. When it's just Josh, it's pretty funny too. This guy's a funny individual. He's gonna have sick fights. The Derek Lewis fight's gonna be sick. The Blades fight was like the best fight I've ever watched. And yeah, man, this might be your return to glory. And you might say, hey, why do you have the Shamil deal on the screen? Why do we have the Blob? Because I think this is the other guys that are entertaining. There's entertaining good and there's entertaining bad. He's entertaining bad. This guy tapped to a 4th round and I was crying laughing. He literally tapped to cardio. He was going blind. So yeah, I mean, that's the state of heavyweight. Just, you know, jiggling at range. But this guy jiggles in the pocket. Bigger pocket. Moving on. Slightly relieving pillow. This one should be like, you know, when it's a hot night. You know, hot night, you flip the pillow. It's not like that cold, but it's pretty relieving. You're like, damn, that's nice. And then you sleep well, you know what I mean? That's what I think this take represents, you know? Quality wins, title wins. They're just better. Quality, it's who you beat. It's who you beat and how you beat them. It's not, was it for a title? Like these old heads want to make it. You know what I mean? I think the Marab win over Jan in a fight night main event is better than any of Anderson Silva's title defenses. Not like all of them combined, but any of them individually. Easily. This man Anderson Silva had a debut in the UFC. And then he's fighting for the belt. Like, that's just not how it is anymore. These fighters are going, especially the less entertaining fighters, they're going on massive win streaks to get to the belt. That's just not how it was back then. I know, like, I rate Mighty Mouse's resume lower than others, but I still think he's got a pretty strong resume overall. But not just because of the title wins. I don't look at them basically at all. I look at who you beat. It's the same thing, like, I understand Tim Elliott is the guy who fought for the title against Mighty Mouse. And has aged really well, as we all know. That fight means so little to me, but it means so much to others because it was for the title. It's the same thing with Pantoja. He fought Kaya Sakura just straight out of Risen. That means so little to me, but others will rate it highly because it was for the title. I don't care. These divisions were ran through. They were massacred by the champion. Now it's just another fight. It's just a fight to, like, you almost don't have to make the fight. Like, you almost don't have to watch it. You already just know what's going to happen. It's one of those, you know, it's $1.10 odds. Like, you just know what's going to happen. And so those wins mean nothing to me compared to, like, these big fight night main event wins. But those wins are infinitely more valuable, in my opinion. Alright, moving on. 40%. We got dog breath. Dog breath. You know when your dog is just a dog. It's just breathing on you. It could be on your hand, so you just be like, damn, that's kind of warm. Fuck. You know what I mean? But it's not that bad. It's just fucking, you know, it's dog breath, man. It's dog breath. We don't really know how this goes. You guys have all experienced it. I think the UFC odds are terrible, man. I think the UFC odds are just worse than other sports. And I know it's because, you know, where the money goes, the odds change a bit. Like, it's pretty narrative driven. They care about your O a lot. They don't really care about your last fight. They do so much MMA math. It's ridiculous. And I know it's hard because fighters only fight 2-3 times a year, so there's not as much data. And that can make it tricky, but man, the amount of MMA math I see on these odds is just ridiculous. And, you know, a big fighter like Makhachev or like a Khabib or something will say, brother, this fight they're gonna win, you know, brother, this fight. And then you'll see the odds literally, like, change, like, because all the people, like, just start changing their opinion and betting on things. Like, it just gets out of hand. Like Strickland, Fluffy was never gonna win that fight. He was just never gonna win the fight. Never, ever, ever. Never. I don't know, like, anyone picking Fluffy. Strickland was $3. That's like plus 200. He was like plus 250. Costa Murzakanov. At least I saw people picking Murzakanov. But everyone knew this was like at least a 50-50 fight. Like at least a 50-50 fight. And Costa was $3.10, which is like plus 210. Man, what are these odds? Like, it was just free money. It was just free money, honestly. Especially the Costa one, like 50-50 fight and this guy's $3. It happens all the time in women's MMA as well. If one woman is just more buff or looked better in their last fight, they're just like, yep, massive favorite. It's just ridiculous. But hey, moving on. Maybe it's just because I'm comparing it to NBA, etc., where their lines are so refined and like there's so much data. So, you know, it's hard to predict these, but I just think they get skewed so much. I don't even know how. But yeah, moving on. Spiciest white boy food, man. This is, you ask your widest friend for a bite of something of his, and, you know, it could be like a chip or something, and he's going to be like, dude, it's really spicy, man, watch out. And you take a bite, and it's just, you can't taste anything. It's just pure cardboard, you know what I mean? Like, this is what this take is to me. But hey, some of you are going to disagree. I think Ilya destroys Conor prime for prime. And I watched back a lot of fights in the preparation of this take, and man, Conor was getting pieced up. Like, I know he landed big shots on Nate and he cut him open with like a skimming left, but it wasn't like that many. And none of them were like thudding, and Nate had like no defense as well. Like, just walking forward with his hands like near his chest. Just eating shots for free. And I know it was upper weight class for Conor. Conor gassed out after the first round. And I understand his cardio got better, but man, you're not going to deal with Ilya's pace. You're not going to deal with the calf kicks. You're not going to deal with the takedowns. And people act like Nate just demolished him on the ground. They were only on the ground for like 15 seconds. And Conor quit. Conor literally rolled over and quit. Like, it was partly because he was gassed, don't get me wrong. Nate did well, but man, if you're losing to Nate Diaz, like, you're going to get rolled into a ball on the ground by Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria is a very high-level grappler. People are underrating his grappling to this day, even while he's two-division world champion, while undefeated. People still underrate his grappling. He would destroy Conor on the ground, and if he wanted to, he would knock him out too. Nate Diaz was wobbling Conor around the octagon. This is a 50% take, because I just think it's obvious. But hey, I know some people will disagree with me. Prime Conor did look great. He was stepping back, hitting bop 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 on Eddie Alvarez, you know what I mean? Talking to, who the fuck is this guy, yeah? Fucking sleep him, yeah? Land the left hand, and I promise you no one can take it. No, that was Prime Conor, you know what I mean? Like, I understand why people still like him. But Ilya, bro, there's no chance. Mittens. Cold day, you know, you put them mittens on, your hands get warmer, you're like, it's comfy, but, you know, the cold's still getting in a little bit. I think Cain Velasquez would be champ at heavyweight. I know a lot of people will agree with me about this, but I know a lot of people will tell me, bro, he's getting knocked the fuck out later in his career, he's getting knocked, he's getting slept. Bro, Prime Cain, dude, that is a nightmare matchup for Gane. It's almost a nightmare matchup for Potan as well. I mean, I think Potan has more chance of, like, finding that shot. Man, he would destroy Gane. I think he would rinse Gane. Just drag him through the mud. I don't know. Aspinall could be an interesting matchup. We still haven't seen that much of Aspinall's grappling. But man, I think Cain is... his pace, his pressure, his takedowns. I think he would drag these blobs through the mud. It would only really be competition around the top 3. And I don't really say this because I think most divisions got better. I think for the most part, New Gen MMA is better. But... man, Cain's an outlier, especially with how bad heavyweight is. Man, Hokid versus Cain would go crazy. Give me inject that fight in my veins, bro. Holy shit! All right, morning shower, buddy. Hot shower in the morning. People are gonna disagree with this. You're wrong. I promise. This is the take I'm most sure about in the whole video. The only reason I'm putting this at 70% is for the casuals that are disagreeing with it. Arman vs. Ilya is a 1-round fight, and the only reason Ilya just doesn't take it and sleep him is because he doesn't want to show off his grappling defense more to Islam and Khabib's team. He doesn't want to show more, because he's a smart individual, and he's also quite a succulent individual. Look at that. Look at them blue jeans, buddy. What the fuck can I buy those? Anyway, this man is sleeping Arman, because they can both wrestle. I don't know why people still act like Ilya can't wrestle. He hasn't fought a grappler. Charles shot 3 takedowns in 2 minutes 30 seconds. What's 3 times 2? 6. What's 6 times 5? 30. That's a 30 takedown per fight pace on Ilia Topuria. And Ilia slept him. People acting like he didn't shoot. He shot and he got the takedown, basically. He didn't get it, but, you know, you're in Charles's guard. That's still good for Charles, for the most part. Armand was getting wrapped up like a pretzel by Charles. I think Charles arguably won that. I would give 2 and 3 to Armand. But that was super close. That was basically a stalemate. It was a split decision stalemate. And if we saw it again in 5 rounds, man, that was literally a fight that was up in the air. And Ilya slept him in 2 minutes 30. Nobody can strike with Ilya Topuria. And people can wrestle with Arman Tsarukyan. I don't know why people think that they can't. Gamrot out-scrambled him. Arman won that fight. People say it's a robbery and Arman won the fight. He won in the striking. Gamrot was out-scrambling him. Just watch the fight. It's true. Charles, he lost that fight because Arman was able to land big elbows in between the submission attempts. And the damage is what eventually gave Arman the win, right? You're not going to land that on Ilya at all. Ilya's not... He doesn't give a shit about none of that jiu-jitsu, fucking throwing up triangles. Bro, he's going to down block his takedowns. He's going to pummel underhooks like Dan Hooker was before Dan Hooker pulled Gilly. Dan Hooker was defending takedowns from Arman, by the way. Go watch it back. The first time Dan Hooker got taken down, he pulled guillotine. Ilya's not doing that. No one's doing that at the top of the sport. Literally, Dan Hooker is like the only one, and Dustin Poirier. And what do they have in common? They've never touched gold. No Poirier slander, but you just don't be pulling Gilly at the top. You don't. And man, he would pummel underhooks, he would down block, he would shrug Arman Tsarukyan off, he would have him at range, and he would destroy him. He would go right hand, left body. Right hand, left body, calf kick. Just mince him on the feet. Arman would shoot, sprawl, get back up. He would get knocked out about the 4-minute mark. I reckon he would take damage before getting knocked out too. It would be like Damon Jackson versus Arman. Damon Jackson versus Ilya. Just a much better version of both. This would be a 1-round fight, maybe early 2nd round. And Arman's chin has been tested. It is crackable. We all know. And anyone's chin is crackable when you're fighting Ilya Topuria. But this fight, look, I would love to see it. The only reason we're not seeing it is because he wants to fight Islam. Anyone who says he's ducking... You're just inbred. I'm sorry, you're genuinely stupid as hell. People said he was ducking Max as well. He just doesn't want to show more to Khabib's team, because Islam comes up with great game plans. It's how Islam beat Jack. It was all in the calf kick and the high kick, and making him switch and grabbing singles and bringing his arms up. It was perfect game planning, which is exactly what they need, because they weren't expecting Poirier to be able to switch on him. They weren't expecting Volk to be able to be that strong in positions, and that's when Islam struggled, when he wasn't expecting certain things. He knew exactly what to expect from Jack, and he fought perfectly. He doesn't know where the holes are on Ilya. You can maybe say a high kick. I'll edit in his defense for a high kick now. It's completely different to when it was when he got dropped from open stance in 2019. I'm not even talking about the Herbert fight either. He doesn't swing like that anymore. Like he did against Herbert or like he did against Bryce. He's tightened up completely. He's a much better fighter. He's in his prime right now. He just doesn't want to show more before he fights Islam. If the Islam fight falls through, or he goes up and loses to Islam or something and he comes back down, he will sleep Arman brutally. It will be simple. It'll be like Eddie Alvarez Conor. Walk through. Moving on.
Shared so many memories together. I want to know, what's your best moment with him?
Islam, he
How
always...
about jacuzzi? You can come.
I was not there.
Come.
Jacuzzi. We got the 80% Dagestan jacuzzi, you know what I mean? You know that shit was hot in there. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 men in a small jacuzzi, man, a small hot tub. So I think it would be quite a sauna in there. So we got that as 80%. I got Khabib as the most overrated fighter in history. I'm not going to say fighter, I'm going to say resume. I should change that, but man, his resume is so overrated. People really have this guy in top 10 all-time talks, and I don't hate Khabib. I think he's a great fighter. I think he would have beaten, like it says, left before his toughest matchups. I think he would have beaten Tony Ferguson if that fight didn't fall through. I think he would have beat him. That wrestling style, it usually does beat those jiu-jitsu guys, especially when they have nasty ground and pound, and Khabib had nasty ground and pound. So, I'm going to edit that out. Anyway. This man, his resume is overrated. His best win is like an RDA. He was fighting straight strikers. He was fighting Poirier, Conor, and Gaethje. He beat Elia Quinta for the belt. those just aren't good wins when you're comparing them to top 10 all-time resumes. Of course they're good wins if we're just talking about the sport. Who you beat, what did you do? He's definitely one of the greatest, but you're not putting him in the top 10. Like, Pereira passed him 3 fights ago. Like, this is the level where you're at in MMA now. These guys are getting to the top of the sport, they're winning 2 title fights, 3 title fights, and they're immediately in GOAT contention. Because this sport's so new, and everyone in it is the best they've ever been outside of heavyweight. And you can say maybe like light heavyweight if you put DC in there. Outside of a couple names, there is the best fighters we've ever seen are all fighting right now. So Khabib's just getting overtaken, and people are still trying to put him in those discussions with the top 5 with the top 10. No, man, he can't compete. He's not up there anymore. And yeah, the only reason this is 80% is because I know some of you doggies, bro. You will hold on to this guy's shorts for him, bro. I'm not going to get too deep. You guys love Khabib. And that's fair enough. He's a great icon. Like, genuinely. Outside of the, some political things. I think what he stands for, like discipline, maturity, etc. Outside of jumping Dylan Dennis. I don't know. I can disagree with that. But I can see how people like Khabib. And I don't think I dislike him personally. But hey, I think he's got a really overrated resume. And I even forgot to mention the most obvious. He's not undefeated. He lost to Gleason Tebow. Go watch the fight. Alright, moving on. 90%. You guys are not going to like this one. Some of you might. Big up Genie MMA. He's going to love this one. Aussie summer, buddy. It gets hot over here. Paddy isn't a top 17 lightweight in the world. He isn't. He's not a top 17 lightweight. And look, some of you guys are going to be like, wow, you're a hater. You're just an Ilya Glazer. You hate Paddy. Dude, I wanted Paddy to fight Ilya so bad. I actually picked him to beat Gaethje. I was a big fan of Paddy. Paddy let me down so astronomically hard. I've never been more mad about a result in the history of the sport, maybe. Outside of a couple of robberies, I don't know if I've ever been more mad about a result. Literally, this Paddy was so bad in that fight, I lost all faith in him to beat any of the names I'm about to list. Obviously, the obvious. Ilia Topuria, Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway. Those names right there, they wipe the floor with them. We've already seen the fight against Gaethje. Charles is just a better Paddy. Arman mops the floor with him. Ilya knocks him the fuck out. Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker is where it gets kind of interesting. I genuinely think Dan Hooker would win on the feet, and I don't know if Paddy would take him down. And maybe Dan Hooker would just pull Gilly because he's got the IQ of, a swinger. We know what Dan Hooker is. The Dan Hooker files were released. He's quite an interesting individual. He's got the IQ of a couch. But hey, I literally think this is a winnable fight for him. If he got booked against Paddy, I think it's a winnable fight. Moving on, we got Fiziev. I think Fiziev would piece up Paddy. Beneil beats Paddy. He does in 2026. That's how bad Paddy is. I like Beneil a lot though. But still, he destroys Paddy. Faraz Ziem destroys him. I think that's a walkthrough. I genuinely think Paddy gets rinsed. Quillen destroys him. Quillen Salkill destroys Paddy Pimblett. Joel Alvarez beats Paddy Pimblett. I'm not even Joel Alvarez beats Paddy Pimblett. Manuel Torres, Mateus Gamrot, Mauricio Ruffi, Renato Moicano, BSD, and Chris Duncan arguably, and even Esteban Rubovic and Grant Dawson could be good fights against him. I genuinely think he's like that level. 17, 18, 19. That kind of level. I do not see him beating someone like Mauricio Ruffi. Even though Ruffi has been out-grappled, like by BSD, I think BSD destroys Paddy. Probably even in the grappling. Man, Paddy was so disappointing. He had no entries on takedowns. He had no ability to guard his head. He had no ability to not topple over and fall down from clubbing sloppy hands from Gaethje. I think someone like Mauricio Ruffi would absolutely chin Gaethje nowadays in 2026. And people would call me, oh my god, you're delusional, blah, blah, blah. I picked Mauricio Ruffi to KO Fiziev, and everyone told me I was delusional then as well. So, and I said he would KO him at range. I had a perfect prediction. He would do the same thing to Gaethje. He would chin him with an uppercut while Gaethje was ducking. And Paddy was not able to do shit in that fight. I think he stunned Gaethje once as well, but I think Gaethje would lose to the majority of these guys as well. Lightweight's a tough division. At first it might sound crazy, but when you go through the names, do we really think Paddy's beating Manuel Torres? I don't even think he's beating Joel Alvarez. I genuinely don't think he is. I don't see it happening. And yeah, man. Debate me all you'd like, man. I want to know. Lava. Ilya still beats Islam at welterweight. And look, I'm not going to fence it on this. I'm not going to fence it. The Jack fight, I was wrong, whatever. Jack, I expected him to be a better Poirier. I expected him to be able to switch, go back to his feet, etc. His leg got destroyed. We've never seen Islam throw calf kicks. I said in my video, Islam would need a new weapon if he's going to beat Jack Della Maddalena. He used that calf kick perfectly, and then he mixed in high kick, and it was just, you have to deal with Islam striking, and then he could set up the wrestling, and that's where the real trouble came. You can't make Ilya deal with your striking. You can't. I genuinely don't know where the weakness is for Ilya. Maybe a southpaw could try kick the body. I'll show his guard. As I said earlier, there's no slot to kick Ilya. There's like a 4 centimeter gap between his hand and his knee. And if you shoot at that point, you can't kick. So he's going to try feint the kick and shoot. Ilya's going to read that. Or he's going to throw at the same time. He's going to throw a right hand as Islam is feinting a kick. Or even if he throws a kick. He's too fast. He's too powerful. He understands the grappling too well. He's going to get taken down. He's going to get put in a bad position. I genuinely think that. He's not going to get submitted. And they're going to start on the feet. 5 rounds with Ilya, you're going to get cracked. He's going to get cracked. He backs up in a straight line. It's the nightmare of nightmare matchups. Nightmare of nightmare matchups. He's short, he's stocky. Islam's struggled with that against Volk and against Dustin. That smaller frame. He struggles with it to enter in on takedowns. He's not the best open mat grappler. It makes it easier. Well, not grappler, wrestler. It makes it easier for Islam to get takedowns when his opponent is taller and fights with a high guard. I knew Jack was going to get taken down. I thought Jack could get back up, like Dustin could. He had great submission defense. He had nothing to get out of side control and half guard. He had nothing for it. Ilya understands the grappling. He understands it. It's his initial art. It's what he started in. I genuinely don't think you can go 25 minutes with with Ilya, and not get cracked. Obviously, I would not pick him to beat anyone else at welterweight. I genuinely don't think so. I think like Michael Morales would just be too long, too rangy, too big. But I think former 155er Makhachev, he's going to be bigger in there. I think he's going to get cracked. I think he would get put out. Probably in the 3rd round. But yeah, man. Look, if Islam won, it wouldn't surprise me that much. This is like the most 50-50 fight of all time. I wish we could book this and just watch it already. No need to waste time on like Arman, and no need to waste time on like Ian Gary. They're both going to get destroyed. We just need to see this. This is for GOAT status. This is Gojo vs Sukuna. I might actually have to make a video explaining this fight in JJK terms. But yeah, man. Thank you for watching, guys. I really want to debate some people about these takes, especially this Paddy one. I really hope this puts it in perspective for people. Genie MMA and I were talking about this. Yeah, man. If you're a Jones fan, man, come on, defend your boy, because I know you love him. I know you all fucking love him, bro. You guys know where you are. You're that flag right there. You know where you are. Anyway, boys. I hope we see the similarities. Thank you for watching, boys. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.